Today we'll bite the ground when the master play. Down in South Africa, white men with gun power have the natives under subjection. The black majority live in poverty, all because they're strong.
Stop right there. Down in South Africa, white men with gun power have the natives under subjection. The black majority live in poverty, all because they're strong. In Trinidad today, black people wake up ready to march. They just don't know who to march against. Because in Trinidad and Tobago, the black majority strong. Their party in power. They control the parliament. Black people control the cabinet. Black people control the government. Black people control the judiciary. Black people control the treasury. Black people control the police service. Black people control the public service. Down in South Africa, white men with gun power have the natives under subjection. That is not what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago. In Trinidad and Tobago, black people write the law. Black people are in control in Trinidad and Tobago. So when blacks wake up in a country where they're in control, their party in office, 43 of the 58 years this country is an independent nation, they cannot understand why in this country where blacks are in control of everything, they're in control of nothing. Nothing. And they wake up today vexed because they want to march, but they don't know who to march against. People posting posts like saying, all lives matter, when we're talking Black Lives Matter, means you say the fire engine wetting all the houses on the street because one house on fire. And that's the truth. That is a perfect analogy. But in Trinidad, you're setting your own house on fire. And the fire service coming to wet everybody else because you're looking to burn everybody down. In Trinidad, the PNM considers itself and sells itself as the black party. Anytime they need to race bait and charge you up, they send slave catcher extraordinaire Fitzgerald Hines. Wind you up. Get you in a tizzy. The Calcutta ship, well, remember that? Call to arms. A Calcutta ship. My brothers and sisters, a Calcutta ship is coming to take your majority. Black people cannot understand how they've been in control of this country for so long and yet they control nothing. Nothing at all. I need to get something to read for you. I will let this song play out a little bit to get it. Stand by. But those who haven't shared the video as yet, share it everywhere now. Let me get the conversation going.
Black man life is a utopia. Nature make him a slave. South Africa is a nightmare for pilots from cradle to the grave. Destruction of the weak is nature's plan. The humble and the weak must understand. This day of the strong man is the devil's heyday. Today we'll bite the ground when the master play.
its course. Tomorrow you may be happy. So hold on. If you let go, you're lost. They want to cuss with Gerard Aboud ass. But Gerard Aboud is a Syrian. And it's only 5,000 of them. Syrians in the minority. Absolute minority. In America, blacks are 12% of the population. They are an absolute minority. In Trinidad and Tobago, Syrians make up less than quarter of 1% of the population. 5,000 of them. You want to jam Gerard Aboud? Jam his ass. You want to jam. Look at this beautiful post Michelle Sohan put out. Michelle Sohan put out a post that says, every life matters. And she had the hands, every shade. And she posted a picture of a person with a flower. We are born of love. Love is our mother, Rumi. And they attack she. And if it is any race of people in this country that could consider itself having been done wrong by the government, is Indian people. Nobody ever put God out their thoughts and used the government to cuss black people. Did a riot. But the Prime Minister twice, 2 black Prime Ministers, William and Rowley, Deafy and Dummy, call Indian people a recalcitrant minority. And they take that normal. Normal. If any race should feel like a put upon minority, is Indian people. Indian people in this country are what black people are in America. Except Indian people in this country had a Sat Maraj. And that's the difference between where the black grandchildren of Africa find themselves today in Trinidad and the grandchildren of India. You see, I said today, Syrian lives matter in Trinidad because Syrian lives matter to Syrians. Make no mistake. Jam them however you want to jam them. Syrians step up for Syrians. I am the only Syrian that Syrians have no problem fighting. The rest of the Syrians is tight. They just work together. Shop by each other. Give each other support. In Trinidad, we have a situation Trinidad, we have a situation where an entire majority has been sold into poverty by their leaders. It is the People's National Movement, cult, that have destroyed the grandchildren of Africa in Trinidad. When Indians come here, they come here to feel mud between their toes forever. Cuss them about coconut oil, cuss them about bhaji and sari, cuss them. Pay them, Tate and Lyles used to pay them half their salary in rum. So you could end up with rum drinking coolie in the national parlance. We could have ended up with that because Tate and Lyle used to pay their sugar workers half their salary in rum. You know that? When the father in an Indian household get paid, stop by the shop, and he get the bag of peas, the bag of flour, the bag of rice, and the and the gallon of oil. And he went home with that and rum. So all that left for him to do is drink, get drunk. And Mommy learned to find different ways to turn those 4 pedestrian ingredients into a whole culinary feast that people is drive down Dibay now to get. Sahina, Baigani, Palori, Kachori, doubles, roti, all of those things are different ways that the East Indian community in Trinidad and Tobago withdrew. They had to withdraw. Eric Williams wasn't giving them electricity. Eric Williams wasn't giving them 4-9. They had to withdraw and survive. And they needed an asshole like Sat Mirage. Sat was no joke asshole. Sat watched Eric and Manning in their face and stand up for Indian people and build school in Cowshed and make sure that the community pulled together. And that is what separated. And while that was happening, while the East Indians were coming together and sharing their culture, because Muslim and Hindu Indians live normal. Muslim and Hindu Indians divided India and Pakistan and have a demilitarized zone. In Trinidad, Muslim and Hindu and Presbyterian Indians live normal. Normal lives. And they share each other, and they take care of each other, and they make sure, and they burn candle and they burn kerosene, and they get themselves cataract, making sure the children learn their books so that any chance they get, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. So when Pandey get a slide in and get them dollar for dollar, all of them was ready to take advantage. To the point where the PNM, the racists in the PNM, and this is all of this, you could go and do your research, check your facts, see how things line up. Say, nah, they say, they gain all the passes, they gain all the degrees, create gate. Everybody can go to school free now. So that too was abused. So schools sprung up overnight and took treasury money for nothing. You see, what is absent in Trinidad and Tobago, where the grandchildren of Africa is concerned, is real leadership. You have people like Baka and them who using black people for their benefit. But that's not leadership. When Fuad Abubakar wanted to threaten the country with black people, when Joe Lakis wanted to say he will break down the corridor and threaten Chutney Rising, he wasn't bringing down the corridor of Syrians. He wasn't flinging Aboud and Sabga and Hadid at you. Black people. He's bringing Lavantel and beat them. Charge them up and shoot them on you. That's our history too. So today black people wake up and realize that America, black people marching for their rights, and Trinidadians think we should have rights too. But what black people don't understand is it is black people who are in power. Your conversation is with Balize House. Your conversation is with Fitzgerald Hines, who as a member of parliament failed the people of Lavantel East for 5 years and is now failing the people of Lavantel West for 5 years, who as Minister of Public Utilities failed the people for water and went down in the Beatum during a flood to stunt and get scared with water and use the courts to jail little black children. That too is the People's National Movement cult. Instead of the cult going down there with moderators to sit with Fitzy and whoever skate water and cuss something, I say, listen, I know you're frustrated, we're working on it, there's your member of parliament, that's wrong, we want to come to an apology, a shake hand, a photo op, PNM rules. None of that shit. Not when there's a massa. Because Eric Williams put on massa clothes. You ever read Animal Farm? When the pigs learned to stand up, the game changed, you know. Eric Williams is a pig that stood up. Put on the farmer outfit and win. Look at read Animal Farm. Every black person in Trinidad, read Animal Farm. Romo, that's your full name? Why are you obsessed with criticizing black people? At no point in this video have I criticized black people as yet, you know. I am saying that black Trinbagonians are suffering at the hands of a black government. Romo, am I wrong? Tell me. Romo, Mova, Beaton, Lavantel, Silots, Patna, River Estate, Covey, Rich Plain, La Puerta, Saganga, Factory Road, Diamond Vale, Abipujad, Big Yard. Listen now. What these slave catchers do is they turn black people against themselves. So they will create little fellas like Emmanuel Jones and Romo to come on the thread to distract you and tell you, don't take him on. Black people have it nice in Trinidad. But they don't. And I'll show you why. Now, I wrote something a couple months ago. Now, I point this into the public space again. And I want Romo, I just banned the other fella. I can't have all your on the thing. I want Romo to tell me, anytime I read a line that I am wrong, I'll pause, so you could tell me how it really is. Okay? I'm looking out for you. I have Satish Ramsaran, head of Pep Media, on standby, who will WhatsApp me because I'm reading my phone. And I want you to hear me. If I read a word, if you hear a line that's wrong, message me one time. I want you all to tag all the slave catchers outside there who leading poor people children astray. I want you to tag them, bring them in this conversation, because they want to lead all you to, you know. But I know what they're leading you to. I know where they're trying to lead you. So I'm trying to inform, educate, and empower, and I know it's pissy to hear. I know, brother. I understand. It's very pissy to hear. Gloria Steinem said the truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off. Tell me this. No, it's not about race, but without having enough population to influence a seat, much less an election by votes, the Trinidad Syrian community has taken control of the nation's food importation industry, the fast food industry. They control the lion's share of supply to the public health sector, the alcohol industry, are closing in on the banking industry, and are almost finished consolidating control of the construction sector. 500,000 blacks, 5,000 Syrians. The whites were in control in this country. My father refers to the Chamber of Commerce as the last bastion of white hegemony in Trinidad and Tobago. Up to 1980, the whites owned Ross Drugs, Stevens & Johnson's, Woolworth, McEnany, Alston's, H.E. Robinson, Gordon Grant, Huggins. Tell me now. Tell me when to stop. Because all of that was everything, you know. Huggins had owned the whole of Tobago. Pigeon Point was owned by white people. You had to go and get a piece of paper stamp to go and pay to go in. You remember that? Pigeon Point. Tell me when I'm lying. I want to stop. The recession that hit the world in the 80s, that collapsed the price of oil, destroyed. Makeup Alani killed himself. It destroyed every company we had in this country. It destroyed all those big companies. And it allowed Sabga, an overnight wealthy Syrian, to buy McEnany Alston's for small money. McEnany Alston's came with Guardian, Trinidad Match Factory, Carib Glassworks, Tatil, McEnany Motors, H.E. Robinson, and all the other ancillary companies that it had, travel, shipping, insurance. He got a good deal. And Anthony Sabga, who is ANSA, latched on and took control of Macau, and it became Ansa Macau. And that is when the Syrians came to be the 1% in Trinidad. That's when it started. That's when it started. But my question is, 5,000 Syrians were able to chip up and buy mackerel. 500,000 black people couldn't. 500,000 people. What is your spending power? 500,000 people. If they were averaging minimum wage alone, the African Trinbagonian diaspora earns in excess of $1 billion a month. Now they don't only collectively get $2,000 a month. There are people who are black in this country that earn $5, $6, $8, $10, $15,000, and that's about a medium. But there are also people who are black who earn $30, $40, $50,000 a month and more. But let's say it's $2,000 a month, and it is only $1 billion a month. In 1 month, black Trinbago could have bought Macanini All Stars. In 5 months, they would have had enough equity to take over Clico, Colonial Life, Republic Bank, Angostura. Still, to this day, it's for sale. Black Trinbago is the biggest consuming bloc in this country. They represent 95% of all labor in all of the sectors I am about to read about. That if they stepped away, all those sectors would collapse. Black labor is like the pillars that uphold a house. Without it, the house collapses. If the pillars move to a new house, it's different. Chamber of Commerce don't want to hear this. And there is nobody, and I have been saying this for decades now, the reason the grandchildren of Africa are in the condition that they're in Trinidad is because of the People's National Movement selling them as slaves, slave labor. When you look at some of the stores in town and what it pays its workers, they can't shop there. There are people who working in high-low, massy stores that waiting to get paid to go and shop in Westby's and stretch the money. I want Romo and the other trolls to tell me where I'm wrong. The Trinidad Chinese, whose number also cannot influence the outcome of a local election, much less impact the national vote, control vast sections of the supermarket, retail trade, entertainment, finance, and own most of the media. Like the Syrians above, they control major state contracts and are massive players in the electrical, plumbing, and hardware industries. Again. Who owns all the car dealerships, the insurance companies? Who owns the malls, the real estate development companies, even culture? Who owns all the carnival bands? What do Afro-Trinis have to show for their vast majority and the might of their vote over the past 58 years? Almost 58 years of PNM having social and economic powers, actually 43 years. The PNM has controlled the treasury, the legislature, the police, the army, the judiciary, for 43 years. Trillions of dollars spent by PNM governments on all manner of projects. Why do the grandchildren of Africa, the PNM's base, outnumber all races in number of persons incarcerated, have the lowest performance in education, lowest home ownership, lowest business ownership, yet have the highest rate in homelessness, in drug addiction, death by violent crime, gang membership, matters before the criminal court? What have Afro-Trinis gained from die-hard support of the PNM besides suffering, squalor, poverty, and the bottom rung of the social ladder? Why have none of those trillions and none of those projects been spent on the development of the actual people who keep putting the PNM in office? Walk, Morva, Beetham, Laventille, Sealots, Covine, Bagatelle, Mason, River Estate, Factory Road, Rich Plain, La Puerta, Saganga, Caranage, Abipujad, Never Dirty, Gonzales, Belmont, Cocoreed, Waterhole, Harding Place, Scorpion. Nelson Street, East Port-of-Spain, and ask yourself, if this was never a race thing, and the PNM only wins because of the Afro-Trini vote, why do the Afro-Trini en masse end up with the loser's end of the national stick? Walk Goodwood Park, Glencoe, Bayshore, Shorelands, Westmorelands, Columbus Circle, Goodwood Gardens, Victoria Gardens, Fairways, Sinclair, Valsane, Gulfview. When the elections are over and they say they win, who is the day that the mass of PNM supporters think win? 58 years of PNM control of the public sector and 43 years of PNM control of the treasury and the legislature. What have PNM supporters to show for all those decades of support as compared to everyone else? If the well-being of all citizens is the responsibility of government, and if one sector is failing compared to all the rest, shouldn't the government have a responsibility to have a national conversation as to what is required to change those realities? To undertake social interventions to lift all people to the same basic standard and give everyone a chance at a real contributing life? How long does it take to ensure a minimum wage is a livable wage? To secure this tiny nation's borders against the drug importers and the gun runners? How long does it take to regulate banks and ensure that they treat their customers fairly? Or to make the education system functional so it leaves no student behind? How long before the development of the people beyond need and labor to development and goals becomes the national conversation? How come that has never been done despite the PNM having had control of the country for most of its independent existence? There is a Turkish proverb that says, the forest was shrinking, but the trees kept voting for the axe because its handle was made of wood and they thought it was one of them. When the numbers are counted and they say they win, what do PNM voters think they have ever won? Politics and elections never offer a solution to the true circumstances of the grandchildren of Africa until the supporters of the PNM wake up to the reality of what exactly they give their vote or their apathy to. If race voting was helping anybody, how come the PNM supporters are not the 1%? Syrian people have been vending on the side of the road like them Charlotte Street vendors in town for 100 years. Syrian people like my grandfather Elias Alexander and Talat Lakis used to leave their home and go in the country for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, sleep under people's house wearing the same clothes for 3 weeks, sleep under people's car, selling clothes, patik. I ain't telling you to do that. Country had booms. Country had trillions of dollars. The apartments that the PNM HDC gave away 30 keys today and put people in debt millions of dollars. Millions of dollars today. But those apartments cost the government, not the government. Those apartments cost the contractors $150,000. 800 square foot apartment, $150,000. No land purchase, state land. $150,000, but it is sold to the government for $1.5 million each. So the contractor walks away with $1 million plus. And then the government sells it to suffering poor people, minimum wage earners, for $1 million. The taxpayers, all of us, pay the excess to the contractor who is kicking back shares of the contract to government ministers and members of parliament. It is where the pool of money that makes the bag of money that Rowley and Kamala are going to get before this election here, that's where it comes from. But what black people in Trinidad and Tobago have to ask of the PNM is how come you in office built Goodwood Park, Wamtel Hill? Do you know that in the 18th century, when they assessed the property values in Trinidad and Tobago, Laventille was ranked number 1? La Ventana. That's where Laventille come from, you know. La Ventana, the window of the country. The view, the fresh breeze on the leeward side of the island. La Ventana. Goodwood Park is scrubland. Goodwood Park had to fight to make the land look and feel like something that Laventille is natural. How come the people in Laventille never get a chance? Where do the entrepreneurs go in this country for money? Where? There are plenty of people watching this video tonight. There are slave catchers outside there bad talking me, and they know that they can't get a better job, they can't get a bank loan if they only raise their head a little bit in life, if they only show up a little bit, if they do well for 2 years straight and they put God out their thoughts and they buy themselves a Range Rover, they get targeted one time. Lawrence Dupree, Jack Warner. You ever see how Jack Warner business all up in all your face? It there. You can cuss where you ass. You can talk shit. You know the shit. You ever notice in a country where they have people who live billionaire lives that suddenly became billionaires in the last 40 years cannot explain to you where that money come from? I ain't saying it's cocaine, but they can't tell you that me and that minister share money. They can't say it. They can't tell you me and that prime minister. They can't tell you I chip up with them and all of we. They can't say it because it's still illegal. It's corruption. They can't talk it. They can't talk it. There's a reason Kamala, Rowley, Manning, Pandey would have never done a commission of inquiry into the administration of public works in the country. We talking about poor black people looting when our governments have looted this country. Our business sector have looted this country. There are lawyers today whose pocket square, tie and jockey shorts match, and they make sure they don't wear the same suit twice in a month. They have Savile Row money. When they get in the car, the air condition set at a temperature. They sign for what they need. There are lawyers, professionals in this country that have driven the getaway car for so long they've reached to the front of the criminal activity. Actual lawyers are leading corruption now. There are businessmen in Trinidad and Tobago who started off. I show my son today, I say, see that shed with them 20 rent a car? That was that man's whole business until Pandey come to office, you know. That and a rundown backhoe. And in 5 years, he was a billionaire. And his daughter and she man and all the children outside, they talking like they could trace their ancestry to the Mayflower. We had scones with the Queen. Thief money in Trinidad and Tobago. Don't just change your present, you know, or your future. Thief money in Trinidad does rewrite your past, you know. Understand that? When you thief big money in Trinidad, You could thief all the teak fields and turn it into furniture and door and kitchen and thing. And then you're somebody in society. Your name on the list. You and your wife and your children. If you thief all the train lines from Her Majesty's train service that the PNM shut down and turn it into steel and sell it, and you become a millionaire and 100 millionaire, your history changes. You see, we will put that black woman on blast for the 16-ounce SM Jalil sweet drink, the cauliflower, and the ham sandwich she thief. We push she on blast all over Facebook. We call up she name. She face plastered all over the place for a head of cauliflower, a ham sandwich, and a sweet drink. And we will see people who jump from one store to 100 in quick time that can't explain the math. And so, how are you? We live lives in this country like we almost encourage corruption and banditry. We pretend when we meet them out, we bad talk them, you know. Bad talk them, we bad talk them hushed. Yeah, I knew him when he and his 3 brothers was sleeping in 1 bedroom in a 2x4 house in Woodbrook. You couldn't swing a cat, you would have bounced your head 3 times. Couldn't swing a cat. And now they're building houses plural. And to them, don't get it wrong, you know. Don't get kizik. To them, if you're in a corrupt society, because I was told 20 years ago by a very good friend, he said to me, if he don't do it, somebody else doing it. That's a fact. You live in a corrupt country. But I wanted to ask, he wasn't the right person to ask because clearly he was corrupt. But I wanted to ask, so you're trying to tell me, in all of this and all this time, we've not been able to create 41 people so dedicated to this country that they would sacrifice to get to office to fix it. We couldn't do that. We so corrupted in this country. A man organized 114 little sufferers, put some gun in their hand, storm the Red House and TTT, take half the government and opposition hostage, blow up police headquarters, shoot a police sentry dead in broad daylight. We are a country so corrupt, we can't even prosecute that. Because everybody talking about who have secrets on who. We are a country so corrupt that that couldn't prosecute. We are a country so corrupt that the Scott drug report couldn't lay in the parliament. Justice Scott must have regretted taking the commission for that inquiry. Y'all don't want to hear this. Y'all want bacchanal. Y'all want bacchanal. Y'all don't want to hear that the $1 billion we spend every year on water could build 10,000 starter homes. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that because that is too much truth. And if you accept that truth, then you have to look to the PNM. I asked them today, I talking with whoever want to talk, you know, because I began my bets. I was leaving it alone. Rest in peace, George Floyd. It was wrong. I hated it and I was leaving it alone. But they attacked Diane Hunt. And then they attacked Michelle Sohan for saying all lives should matter. And these jackasses attacked them. Where was I? I find out after the fact. I'd jump in that conversation and cuss with them on ass. Where were you when we were marching for Akil? Go and look at my Facebook profile picture. Where were you? Where were you when a Chinese and a black man bull and kill a little 10-year-old boy? Where were you? Where were you in the Rice Man House in Highland Park? Where were you when we marched for that boy every year, calling for justice, calling for them to find a way to find back the drawers or the loss with the man's semen on it? Where were you? Where were you? But you're giving Michelle pressure and you're giving Diane pressure for saying all life matter, and they're right. Because you didn't care about Akil and he's a little black boy. And his life's supposed to matter. So Michelle correct and Diane correct. And you wrong. But you jump up on your little black podium and you want to boycott. Boycott my ass. You ain't boycotting nothing. You're talking shit about 1% every day. But you've taken picture of you sleeping outside KFC waiting for it to open. Boycott my half-red ass. Ole boycotting nothing. But you want to target Michelle and Diane for saying love everybody? What kind of jackass protests all you're protesting? Your protest is Balize House. Black people suffering in this country because of the People's National Movement. Our education system is shit. Michelle and Diane do that. Our public health is shit. Michelle and Diane responsible for that. Our entire government, our system of public service is shit. Michelle and Diane do that. Drugs walking into this country every day. Michelle and Diane responsible for that. 42,000 illegal guns in this country. We're spending $9 billion a year for our Coast Guard to have soldiers chasing Manikou and Lap in Shagarama's bush. We can't stop drugs and guns coming into this country. We're spending $9 billion a year. I talk about Mrs. Ferreira in Glencoe, who house nearly burned down. Today, Paul Daniel Nahus and his wife and friends had to out bushfire all wrong houses that was going to burn down because $9 billion is not enough to pay for a properly functioning fire service. And you want to attack Michelle and Diane? Are you mad? This country is a shit hole because of PNM voters who vote for that. Are you voting for that? Give the money to the 1% and jam we. That is what you say every time you say PNM till I dead. When you say PNM till I dead, you saying make Goodwood Park better. When Rowley and Stuart Young went to talk to Goodwood Park and the 1%, they took rattan furniture under the salmon tree and had a conversation with Goodwood Park. When it was time to talk to Bagatelle and Covine and Rich Plain, they throw up a music truck stage down by the highway. Say, oh, come in. Come in. The day, and I have said this for decades, the day the grandchildren of Africa took responsibility for this country, they would be present in the ownership of many businesses, real estate. They are present at the highest level of government. They own the PNM that gave Rohan Sinanan the ability to sell an expired piece of state land called Kedona Drive-In for a figure that we cannot find out about yet. Not Diane, not Michelle Sohan, who put Stuart Young there to meet with indicted drug lords, Delcy Rodriguez and the bandit squad from Venezuela that we pierce, closed the airspace for and shuttled. They're quarantined. They're quarantined. How are we to know that Rowley and Delcy social distance? How are we to know when Faris was whining on Munilal in some house party? How are we to know that Delcy and Stuart and Rowley social distance? Did they have the meeting wearing masks? We can't know. When Rowley went in the dead of night to ring Ken Gordon gate, Ken boy, I have a hot piece of thing for you here. This going and burn down the country. This important. They're talking about murder. He didn't tell Ken he holding it for 6 months now. It's the slowest murder in world history. Because you know it coming. You get a 6-month head start. How stupid are we? How stupid? You know Ken Gordon office, it's round the corner from your office. You're in Chepstow House, Integrity Commission is upstairs, Unit Trust. So it's a block. It's a block. You could have go there in the day. You could have go there in the day. You could have called, have the leader of the opposition secretary call the chairman of the Integrity Commission secretary and make an appointment, an official appointment, that they could have documented what took place. But you didn't do that. You had to go to Ken Gordon house in the dead of night to create a legend called Emailgate. How stupid are we? We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and mostly the people who continue to support the People's National Movement, because you live in a country where banks treat the citizens like shit. By law, your money is paid into the banks, but you get no interest. You get charged. And then when you need credit for anything, you need more money than you have and a reason that they could buy that it will pay off. While I talking, slave catchers been talking my name. While I talking, slave catchers outside there leading black people astray. Because they can't let you hear this. Because their legend is PNM bad, UNC worse, vote Rowley. UNC legend is Kamla bad, Rowley worse, vote UNC. You have to know, when I show the nation that is this absolute donkey logic, to build a water system, it is called the Water and Sewage Authority. The water management master plan for Trinidad and Tobago is to capture all of the fresh water that God sends. God says, they look thirsty in Trinidad, have some water. And we say, no thank you God, try it in the sea. So Ganga and Karamat and whoever else was involved could put down desalination plants on a continuous collection model, like PowerGen, TNTech. Our natural gas is free. Our electricity could be free. We burn the natural gas off. We flare it. But for as long as there are slave catchers who are willing to say, it's not so bad, if you put Bertie's pepper sauce on corned beef, it tastes like steak, you know. Not so bad. Or you know they tell you, it can get worse. You know what's the most amazing thing about me? They have jackasses like Anil Roberts, who will bad talk me under parliamentary privilege, but will never do it to my face. For two good reasons. One, he will lose that argument. And two, he will lose the hotel in St. Lucia or wherever it is he take his life support money. And possibly three, he might lose his room 201 stash. I am not like the rest of them. When I came out here to tell Trinidad and Tobago what is going on, I realized that we had to provide an option. And it is here. And it is open to everybody who really care about Trinidad and Tobago and would like to come and join and lead, but they are not looking for that. Dano Suku lives in a country where the government has destroyed agriculture, but she went to screen for that party. We live in a country where Fuad Abubakar leads the political arm of the most successful terrorist organization this country has ever produced, and went to screen. We live in a country where Diego Martin Central's candidate is one of the founding directors of a company that his brother-in-law is the riding partner of who was then the head of NLCB and was funneling them NLCB money to create a company called Green Eco Warriors. And they can't answer for that. It come up in the audit. Same company went to try and get the contract. Believe this or not, there is something called the Horticultural Division of the Ministry of Agriculture. It is based in a little hut-looking place down the road from Brian Lara House, close to Cape Park. It is the horticultural arm of the Ministry of Agriculture, and its job is to maintain the Queen's Park Savannah. And now, they're privatizing mowing the Savannah lawn. Believe it or not. We have a Ministry of Works, but we give Calco and Junior Sammy and Kusals and the rest of them multi-million-dollar contracts to fix potholes and pave roads that the Ministry of Works should be doing. Mariano Brown said to me on a television interview in a conversation we had that it is faster to give it, and I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt that it is faster. But when Emmanuel George gave Sammy the contract to fix the sinkhole by the lighthouse, and the media asked how much this is going to cost, he said, we don't know. We can't know. It's a hole. We need to fix that. That is shock doctrine. Shock doctrine. When Terence Dialsing could tell you, we don't know how much COVID going to cost. It's going to be a lot of money. You buy that. We don't know how much it's going to cost. You shut down the Red House for 12 years and spend $500 million on a coat of paint. Even if you rewired it, even if you change all the plumbing, even if you change all the floors, even if you change all the doors, it couldn't cost $500 million. It couldn't cost $17 million to renovate a cottage that then cost $2 million to build. If it then cost $2 million to build, how it could cost $17 million to renovate? But when Terence Dialsing's wife is the front person for the company that getting the contract, it makes sense in a corrupt P&M. And this is how they steal your money. $80 million a year to transport prisoners who had $1 million between them. So we're spending $79 million too much. And I said today, if you put those prisoners on a salary, because they're unemployable, 98% of the people in our justice system who are considered criminals are as a direct result of our failure to educate in our education system. Poverty, illiteracy, crime. A government with no vision, no plan. Every one of them come to office to build a next white elephant. Napa will never recover that money. We will never get 10% of the $567 million we spent on Napa. We will never get 5% of the $600 million we spent on SAPA. We will never get 1% of the $1.2 billion we spent on Taruba that the cabinet approved for $126 million. We got a 10 times the cost overrun. We will never get that money back. You can't shut it down. You can't burn it down. You can't give it away. You can't. It's like your girlfriend horn you and she come back pregnant. So it was. Because not only you get horn, now your choices are, do I raise an ex-man child? Ask Ragu about that. Or do I end the relationship? Our country has been looted by its government and friends in the Chamber of Commerce and in the professional class, the accountants, the lawyers. In Trinidad and Tobago, we have an accounting firm that was named in a commission of inquiry for having published fraud that led to the destruction of Clico, that cost the country $20 billion. The directors of that auditing company should have gone to jail. But Faris Al-Rawi and Mervyn Assam were on the audit committee. This was before they reached in government. Andre Montai was the treasurer of the PNM, and Andre Montai was a director of Clico or CL Financial. The fix was in, the game was set. You were always going to lose. Always. In a country where there is nothing set up to protect you. And a lot of people looking at the video thinking it's hopeless. And it's not. It's not hopeless. It will never fix as long as we continue to vote criminals into office. I'm telling you, it can't be easy to hear these things. I'm telling you from a position, it's not easy to know it. It's not easy to say it. Every night I finish these videos, I want to delete my whole Facebook account and just get out of this country. Watch now. What is coming for Trinidad and Tobago? We've never experienced, you know. We've never experienced. If you don't stop the looting, stop the criminality, put a government there that have some idea as to how to turn this ship around, we in bad danger. Last time I spoke to guys from Fatima College who were fixated on the abolishing the SCA. I have spoken to members of the Psychiatrist Council, and they say a large portion of mental illness in Trinidad and Tobago is caused by the effects of, or exacerbated by, the effects of the weight of that examination on 10-year-old children. Nowhere in the world, nowhere in the civilized world are people forced to plan their entire lives at the age of 11. Nowhere. Nowhere. Abolish the SCA. Make all schools 10-year schools. All schools 10-year schools. Put the responsibility for the performance of the school on the principal and the vice principal, but pay them well. Pay them frightfully well. Pay a school principal on par with a senator. Give them tax-free status so school principals driving Benz and Porsche Cayenne, they deserve it. Because you have to have at least 15 years of exemplary service as a teacher. You have to have at least gotten your master's in education or a doctorate to become a principal. So we're making sure that we put the right people and we're paying them so well, and they don't want to lose that job. Make the principal and the vice principal responsible for the performance of the school, and be responsible for the performance of the school through the teachers. And don't tell me about the family and the parents and the community, because tell somebody else that. Somebody else have to be responsible when a child fails at the end of the term. Somebody have to say, go home, the father beating the mother every night and child can't study. Or the father in jail and the mother running a whole house, child can't study. Tell somebody that. Social services, children authority, child welfare. So when a child fails an exam in any school, all of those children raise red flags immediately at the end of the term. So we rush in there. What's going on, boy? They're real poor. This child comes into school without shoes, and they have no food. So by 10 o'clock in the morning, his or her blood sugar low. Make sure you know what's going on. So that child, when you come to school in the morning, you get a little cheese sandwich and a Ramsarans peanut punch. Pump you up. Yeah? All of these problems could fix. The justice system. Hire judges who could case manage. Those who can't, put them to judge Calypso competitions. It's simple. Nobody entitled to any position. Hire magistrates and judges who could case manage. Anybody who can't, give them to judge beauty pageants. Case management means, by law, 5 years for criminal matters, 3 years for civil matters, decreasing every couple of years. Till we down to, as Vernon de Lima said, it shouldn't be more than a year. Shouldn't be more than a year. So our law should be that if you arrest a man, you have 24 hours to charge him or let him go. And if you charge him, you have 6 months to prosecute him or let him go. And if you start a prosecution, there's a time frame for the court case or let him go. Because human rights and civil liberties are the most important thing in any country in the world. If we can't fix that, if we can't get those in office to understand who run the show, because who run the show are the people of the country, the consumer, the labor, the voter. Without them, you have none. Nothing at all. A better Trinidad and Tobago is a reality. I loved that I was invited to a Zoom meeting with Fatima Old Boys. And they had, all of them had their questions. And they were shooting their questions at me. And I had to answer. They had secondary questions. I had questions from the pack, I had questions from the field, ancillary questions. And I want to tell you this. You don't have to find I am sexy. You don't have to think I am the most well-spoken politician you've ever heard. But you're going to have to face what even my detractors say. That is the most brilliant man in politics in this country's history. And there is only one person that has the capacity to rescue this country. And if you want to challenge it, get your political leader. Those of you who still, after all of this, still support the PNM, get Rowley. All of you who support Kamala after everything she did, if you still could support that, get Kamala. Put the three of us on a stage where none of us know the questions. We have a minute and a half to answer each questions and shoot the questions from the audience random. Shoot the questions on social media random. Let an algorithm pull the question. And whatever question you ask, all three have to answer. And all three have a minute and 30 seconds each. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, your microphone switch off. So even if you still talking, nobody hearing. They have no drama in that. Even a debate could be planned properly. And you can't rig it because the public asking the question. And I would love that. I would welcome it. Ask Kamala, would you debate Phillip Alexander? Listen to all the evasions. Ask it Rowley. Would you debate Phillip Alexander? We're not talking about your track record, so you get away. We ain't talking about how much you're worth and how much you earned. You get away with that. We just want to measure your capacity in a rapid fire environment. Just that. Because that's what a prime minister is. A prime minister is a man manager. We set goals and we manage those goals. Before this show, I had a Zoom meeting with the leadership of the party to deal with again. And I had to say in that meeting how I wish to all the gods, the old and the new, that I was running for an election like the President of the United States runs for election by himself. That I didn't have to create a whole political party and organize all of it. There's a reason Kirkwaite, who writing 20 years, talking 10 years, posturing for 5, only pelt out that political party last month. Because this is easy. This is not easy. When Dilworth and Nkosi tried to pretend they was the Progressive Empowerment Party and launch a next progressive party, when they launched it last year, they thought we was going somewhere. They still can't get enough people to follow Maxi Taxi. We crossed 12,000 new members just in the lockdown. Go and ask them. Ask Basdeo Pandey, who bring the full weight of the Pandey name down to bear on the patriotic front, that had one meeting and that was. Ask them. Ask them how hard this is. Peter George Jr., De Goville and Mahara and all of them. They went to do it. They have not a bag of money, they have a war chest. They boast we have $5 million to start this party. They was launching the party in a panyard. They had the date set. I can't remember the name. Spatch or Smirch or Smitch. Kendall Baggy. There's something Snooch. I can't remember. Swatch. Something like that they was calling the party. And they said they was having it at a panyard. And on the day the band was supposed to, the day the party was supposed to launch, they put out a release. They said we get a Zeppo that the crowd had come in too big for here. So we had to move it, so they postponed it. They said they was going by the club down that Smarter them own, down by Westmall. They said this could hold a crowd. Smatch or Switch or Spooch or whatever the name is. Yet to launch the party. Packed, like the name, packed. I don't remember what it was. Some shit. Ragu. Winston Ragu wakes up every day to follow Philip Edward Alexander. That's his whole life. Winston Ragu is a banana seller, importer. He's a mechanic. He used to drive a taxi until he married what's that guy? Raj Arjun from Back to Basic Supermarket. Marry his wife. Or end up with Raj's wife or some shit. So Winston Ragu, all he does is focus on me. He reading people card in the future. Yeah, your man holding you. Yeah, your wife running away with the but half he mind, what Philip doing now, boy? When I go live tonight, it's Philip I'm talking about. Winston Ragu have a parliament he could focus on, a government that failed and an opposition that failed. Can't talk about them. Philip Alexander. Gabriel Osuna, all over Facebook bad talking me. Gabriel Osuna wanted to be a suppository. It used to be embarrassing. People used to cuss. The man used to come to public pep meetings and sit down on the same chair with me. But what is lost, people, is I'm not a cult man. I'm not in this for new friends. Don't look to come in my house. I'm not on all of that shit. I'm a very private person. And I'm doing my politics. And I'm here and I'm working. There are people who just message me. 3-4 message on WhatsApp. And then the 5th message is a stoops. Well, you could at least take my call. 19 call. Listen. I'm not in this for that. I'm not in this. Last time I nearly post the missed calls I just get. The top of it, Fitzgerald Hines. Were you calling me for, Fitzy? Them nothing the PNM have to say that I want to hear. And I certainly don't want B-Mobile saying that Philip spoke to Fitzy for 7 minutes because some shit you will say, and I ain't want to be no part of that. I don't want to be no part of that. Today, Devon Mirage told me Vasant is a good man. I asked him if Vasant is a good man. How he all over the place so? Settle your ass down. Politics is about leading people. Settle your ass down. Stop jumping from bandwagon to bandwagon looking to be relevant. You're bright. We know you're bright. You're a perfect technocrat. You're a lousy politician. That's the truth. That's the absolute, God's honest truth. Own it. Me, I am not a politician in the mold of will lie to you. I do not want to lie to you. I do not want to have to remember that I lied to you. And unlike Keith Rowley, I could only fit one tongue in my mouth. I could find 50 examples of Keith Rowley saying one thing in opposition and another thing in government. But the people from the UNC who sharing it forget Kamala is a big ass liar too. And it's hard to face. It's hard to face. The UNC supporters just deify their leader. And that's wrong. This is not Mother Lakshmi business. This is servant business. This is wash my car, clean my yard, go and pack my groceries business. Your prime minister's job is to manage your country in the best interest of everybody. You see, if your prime minister doing a good enough job, you have enough opportunity to make money, as does the people down the road, so that when you getting rich, they not looking to come and rob you. If everybody get on their own track and get their own chance to maximize their own potential, nobody have you to study. we could be a better country. We could be a better country. Trinidad and Tobago. All lives matter. And in Trinidad and Tobago, black lives need to matter more to black people. And the day black people take responsibility for the performance of the black government that they vote into office and make sure that that black government do its job, then their fortunes will change. When Sabga got his doctorate, he barely had a school-leaving certificate. He left the world as Dr. Sabga. Work hard, get your chances, use the opportunities, manifest yourself. But make sure that you're not mining. You see, that's what you're doing. All you're mining political party for other people to sleep with. That's what going on. All you're putting government in office to fight 1%. Contract. Mr. Phillip, please address the allegations against you that I am the sexiest politician in the country. That is God's business. That I am supremely intelligent compared to the rest of the political leaders. That's what the people believe. I don't know what to tell you. If you're talking about the little shit snake nonsense that every single political adversary going to lie and try and spin to distract you from the reality of where we are, if that's distracting you, you're on the wrong wall, baby cakes. Honey bunch, go to whoever sent it to you.
Trinidad boys, a bullet start to wine and put an end to the joy. Now the lion call for the mama to mourn. The Nike gone, the gold teeth gone. You see they want the pocket full with blue silk. They want the stock you drink it full green milk. The little red silk is not their true friend. The blue one have to extra north on the end. So I tag on the towers, now they take it to hell. But look where we reach. Well, I hear a madman born as he spread out on the wall. He said, this is it, I've been hit. No time to give up, brother, no time to quit. It's the chant of a madman with the stale from a strange land. They need the chant of the madman. It's the only salvation. I say the chant of a madman in the stale from a strange land.
Andrea, I'm not being disrespectful, no honey bunny, I know. I could tell you all kind of things. You know Rowley have 12 toes. Go and ask him to defend that. I sit down and read all them kind of things. Listen, for me to answer some of those questions is to disrespect other people I was in business with. You think I could go through that? Let all those who chaining you up with bullshit answer for you. Tell them, listen, they have a Latin word. It translates to evidence. Just show me something, now, man. You have to be able to show me something. Or you're fighting so hard to damage the man's name. Yet, he is still the most accessible politician, most outspoken politician, the most courageous politician. Why are you trying to dirty such a brilliant man's name? You ever thought to ask them that, Andrea?
Somebody promised to be with the facts. Somebody promised to clean up the land. But in this clean land, rats still killing man. We bright little youths going to waste. Somebody binge the smile on their face. Somebody take one love off the shelf. Then the one of boys start to sell out themselves. Somebody going to end all this talk about race. But they can't tell you that with a straight face. Big men dying, the crime can't solve. A madman rant is my only resolve. I hear the madman war as he lie on a horse. He said, this is it, this is it, this is it. I've been hit, but no time to give up, brother, no time to quit. A chant of a madman in this tale from a strange land. It was a chant of a madman in this tale from a strange land. Maybe the chant of the madman is the only salvation.
Michael George asked, who is the accessible politicians in TNT? I don't know. Go on the PNM wall. Right now, while you're talking to me, change screens, pull up a tab, I'll show you on some kind of device, and go on the PNM pages and see if you could write something. Then, go to mine. I have Phillip Edward Alexander as a profile, and Phillip Edward Alexander as a fan page. And on both, it's open to you. You could write just about anything. You could contact me. Somebody send me a number like dynamite paper, it all over the road. Outside here a long time and I'm accessible. I go on shows, I make myself available, I take calls. People could type things, they could make fake profile and send it in. We deal with that too. We address everything. We live in a country where Garnet Mungle was getting a little political, so somebody leak a picture of Garnet in a green jockey shorts to the bomb, and Garnet feel embarrassed and he jump out. I not so. If you have pictures of me in a jockey shorts, publish them. I am out here to fix my country. Who think that they're going to interrupt that with small talk? Hear what to do. Like the heifer from Bayshore. Stop hiding behind fake profiles. Come out with your real self. Talk to Phil. Anil Roberts, come on my show. Invite me to your show. All who have all this talk. Call me, man. Winston Ragu, come on this show. Come on Plain Talk. And I can't come on your show because you can't read, and we do a lot of reading on this side of the thing. Come and talk. Let me ventilate. Andrea, I don't mind you asking me a question, you know. You can never run a cunt. I think I forgot piece of the thing, Michael Ramjet. Well, I can't finish answer that freaking question. Yeah? Hey! Brave Boy, Rhoda Barrett, Daryl Duku. Look at the kind of people that are the people at the PNM and the UNC that's fine to hire. Look at the kind of failures. Check it out. Before I block Michael Ramjet, his Facebook profile, his Facebook, is the Canada skyline. Mr. Ramjit run from Trinidad, you know. He telling me I can run a country that he run from. And he here on Facebook defending whichever the criminals is he partner or partneress. Michael Ramjit, miss me with your bullshit now, friend.
9 o'clock in the morning. What about? 9 o'clock in the morning. 9 o'clock in the morning. 9 o'clock on the dot. And no food in the pot. Why? There's a flood on the road. 9 o'clock in the day. You can't see your way. Why? Organized crime. It's organized crime. Everywhere you turn, crime and more crime. White collar crime, blue collar crime.
The thing I had to admit though, Phillip is an equal opportunity unifier. You ever see how the Indian names and the African names of the two troll sides of the PNM and the UNC just join together to attack the PEP?
No color crime. We're running out of time. Your salary cut. 9 o'clock in the day. No way to get paid. Traffic on the highway. Traffic on the highway. Bills and more bills. Bills and more bills. $3 trillion spent, nothing to show. That's how it goes in a land named Trinidad. Nothing. Public health fail, public works fail, local government fail, central government fail.
Alright, my phone busy. Alright, here one. I'll take some calls. 682-2110. If you want, call me. 682-2110. If you want to have your say, call. Anybody. Say where you're calling from and keep it short for the others so that it doesn't run on and on. I appreciate that very much. When you call, if you call, listen to me on the phone and not on your device. There is a delay on social media. 682-2110 if you want to call in, or you could WhatsApp me on 682-2110 and I will read your WhatsApp. Yeah?
Fail. 57 years. Tears. 57 years. Prayers. No bread in the kitchen, no gas in the car, no water in the pipe. Everybody by the bar, hole in the pavement, hole in your shoe, hole in your wallet. There's only holes for you. Everything out of control. Hey, there we go.
Going forward, we have to moderate. We have to moderate as we go. You have to excuse me 1 second. You calling in for the live show? Okay, stand by. I have a caller here. Good evening, you're live.
Yeah, Philip, hi. Just wanted to know your position on the water metering for all houses in Trinidad. Can you give us your position on that?
Absolutely. You're taking it off the call, right?
Yeah.
Right. You listen on here. Water metering. Now, that's what caused the Red House to burn down in Trinidad and Tobago, the water riots. If you ever hear about that. But water metering is a fair way if we could trust the Public Utilities Commission to set a proper rate. The idea that we were going to spend $1.5 billion to water meter the country, I feel that we should first try to get ourselves to a place where we could give the public water 24/7 for a while. I think when the people could get rid of their tanks and their pumps and they could save that electricity bill for the pump a year or 2 years, let's give them 100% water 24/7 and then come to the public and say, listen, this happens at a cost. And we could decentralize and break up WASA, because that is our plan, to break up WASA into 41 smaller companies responsible for each constituency, so that the quality and the performance of your water company in your constituency could be managed by your MP and your constituency board of supervisors, so that if you're having a difficulty, we could change the dynamics of one company. But we could create a model that everybody could follow and go forward from there. Water metering is going to become essential to cover the costs, but we need to know what those costs are and have that conversation. I think when Trinidadians realize that metered water supply might cost them $60 a month, and they're paying 3 times that on the electricity bill just for the pump that run in the tank, I think when they realize that it is 5% of a truckload of water, people paying $600 for water in a truck now. After you get a proper water supply, you'll never have to buy Blue Waters and Water One and Oasis Water again. So the first thing you have to do before you go and meter people and give them another bill to pay, give them water 24/7 till they take it for granted. And they understand that, I think people will understand after that this is something that's worth paying for. Yeah? One of the accountants of Taurus has died. Maybe think is Taurus still functioning? I don't know. Taurus is the debt collection part of the government. And Fitzgerald Hines, this is an invitation, you know, brother. Fine, man. I know you're watching. I know all them. I just realized this woman I arguing, Andrea Martin, is either Tony girlfriend or Fitzgerald Hines or Colm Imbert or one of them. And listen, find a new play now. Find a new play. Your profile picture's a dog. Yeah. Going forward. When you beat the bush, the dogs has come out and they will get themselves in trouble. I want Mr. Osuna to know what Gary Griffith didn't take from you, I will, son. Walk very carefully, which is shock doctrine. Trinidad and Tobago, we've been at this one for an hour and a half. You are 100% correct. Thank you very much for that. The law system is like bleach, works perfectly for whites. Come on. This is not America. In Trinidad and Tobago, white people not killing black people. In Trinidad, white people not kneeling on black people. In Trinidad, white people not bothering anybody like that. So I don't understand. The only thing that you could vex with the 1% for is that they seem to have advantages that you don't have. And that is a direct responsibility of your government. That is a direct responsibility of Balize House. Channel those questions there. Go and ask Rowley. How come your entire cabinet don't look like the grassroots of the party? How come when people make it big, even in the PNM, they don't look like PNM supporters? How come? Maybe Rowley have an answer. Col might have it. Rohan might have it. Franklin Khan might have it. Check it out. What happened to paying a land tax? Suchan Buchan asking for another 30 minutes. I was doing this for the questions, but like all I get bashful all of a sudden. What were the really questions I was asking before? the ex-carny workers. How long we been waiting? Please help us. Rodzilla said this show should be 2 hours. All you know is all you know what it is to sit down here and talk for 2 hours. Send your messages. Not voice notes. I can't do voice notes.
Well, this one is about uniting the nation. Why can't we all get along? Yeah, why we fuss and fight? Tonight we got to unite. Mr. Marshall and Super. What you say?
The 4 youths in that video stoning that cow, I hope Gary hold you and tie you so the rest of us could come and pelt stone at you so you could feel what that cow felt. 4 jackasses. Where has the Red House cottage renovation bill reached? We have documents. We requested more documents, and then coronavirus and COVID started and everything shut down, including UDCOT. We're waiting for a notification from attorneys to tell us when everything is ready, or when the country is fully open and UDCOT is open, our people will start back following up. We're not letting it go. I want to know how Laban and them worked $17 million into the bill for renovating a cottage that cost $2 million to build.
Nothing wrong with penning on that Indian girl. Nothing wrong with penning on that Chinese girl. Nothing wrong with penning on that African girl. Nothing wrong with penning on that Syrian girl. Let's do the thing.
I watch into a small phone as a camera, so those questions pass real quick. Hadassah, could you copy it and WhatsApp it to me? I'll answer it. I have no problem at all. If it's Mukesh Maraj who asked the question, send it to me on 682-2110. It's easier to read. On the phone, on the device, the questions scroll and I don't get to read it fast enough. Matty Basdeo asks, can you say something about the Venice who here and come in here still? Are you going to do something for them? Yes. Trinidad and Tobago is underpopulated, believe it or not. To become the country we need to be, we need a population of about 6 million people. Don't let that shock you. That's what we need to be. Now, we're about 1.5 million trainees outside. And when we start to become a first world nation, they're going to want to come back home. We need to develop to accommodate those people. Singapore, half the size of Trinidad alone, has a population of 5.4 million people. So it's possible, doable, and it will work in everybody's favor. Hello, good evening, you're live.
Yeah, good evening, sir. I just want to say good luck and congratulations on everything that you're doing, right? The only question I have for you is, you have any plans on coastal erosion as climate change become a greater reality?
Yes, actually we do. You're going to listen off?
Yeah.
That's a brilliant question. And we have to work with the world leaders in that now. There is seaborne technology, and this is new, and it has to work, and it has to do with managing currents and giving the currents a blow-by. So it's literally building spits and lay-bys of land tracks in the sea. You're using suction barges and you're pulling rocks and dirt from under the sea and you're piling it up like a berm. If you know what a berm is what the PNM built outside Beetham to hide the ghetto from Obama. When Obama came, it's literally a mound of dirt. And once it's higher than the sea level rise, it will push the current that wants to erode the land, it'll push it forward. We will get away with that for a while, but the reality is we as a planet, we as a world have to focus on reversing global warming and greenhouse gases. That we have to agree. We have to agree if the Kyoto Protocol actually made sense. We have to agree our greenhouse emissions coming from the methane, from the beef and hamburger industry, is it coming from because they say how much carbon it takes to produce 1 pound of beef? Is it coming from cars? Cars are transitioning. Should we accelerate now that they have so much good battery technology? Should we accelerate to 10 years and say stop all carbon emissions from cars in 10 years? There's a lot that we can do. So any things we put in place in the short term is to manage, but long term we need to control the decimation of the environment and global warming. We need to reverse that. Yeah? Well, you all know how to get me. What Mukesh Maharaj asked, what will the healthcare system look like under the PEP? In a real country, healthcare, and I'm assuming you're talking about emergency healthcare as opposed to long-term healthcare. A public health system deals with emergencies, and then it deals with long-term care management issues. Emergencies has to start with a proper paramedic trained call centers, GPS controlled buses. They call ambulances buses, equidistant throughout the country. So all 41 constituencies should have their own 24/7 accident and emergency clinic, what we call casualty in Port of Spain General Hospital. We want 41 of those built, one in every constituency, capable of handling overnight stays, ophthalmological units. I've been practicing. Full dental suite. If you need to go and get your food card, you should be able to go 9 o'clock in the night after you come home from work and do your blood test and check your sugar and all the other things you have to do to get a food badge. But also emergencies and everything that you would rush somebody to casualty for, your constituency is supposed to be able to deal with that internally. And long-term stays, we could free up the major hospitals to cater for people who need long-term treatment and stays, major surgeries, and the like. That will actually cost us less money than it costs us now. Where the Couva Hospital should have been a burn unit. If you are going to make Point Lisa's functional as a full industrial complex, we don't have a proper burn unit, and we should. And that is what the Couva Hospital should have been built as before anything else. If you take casualty out of all the big hospitals, you could actually then put children's wings in the hospitals. So you don't need that people in Diego Martin have to rush the child to Couva and people from Marabella have to rush the child to Couva. We don't need one centrally located children's hospital. We need proper, and there's a magic number, 10 minutes. Under 10 minutes, get you into the emergency room in under 10 minutes to save tissue so that tissue death don't set in, because that's when it becomes irreversible. So having proper, and in communities that are close by, you can have doctors on call. We plan, now you would have heard us talk about this first, brace for the PNM and the UNC to steal it. There is a type of nurse called nurse practitioners who are above registered nurses, under doctors, who are capable of handling major issues. And when you have a proper paramedic ambulance service with trained call center operatives, that conversation, from the time you call to report your emergency, the call center is dealing with the ambulance as well as the emergency, the closest emergency room, and everybody is anticipating and preparing for your arrival, including things where the head nurse practitioner would say, we will need the on-call doctor for that, and they will page that person who would be paid to be on call but not in the emergency room unless needed. That type of system works in functional first world countries, and it is the type of system we want here. Plans for schools. Would students have jobs and what types? Not a bad idea. The Japanese do that. The Japanese teach children. They train them to manage the facility that they're in. They take care of janitorial. It teaches you the consequences of life. That if you make a mess and you have to clean up the mess, you stop making a mess. And things like that. So if you're talking about those kind of jobs and chores in the school, absolutely. School should also have agriculture. Children should learn how to plant food. The school should have as a goal to generate a certain amount of food for itself that the children could be eating in the cafeteria, food that they grew in the schools. Can you give us an insight as to if you have plans for the preservation of historical sites and buildings as a means of generating revenue for tourism plans? Yes, I think everything from Queen's Royal College to Stallmeyer Castle should be made into a sort of a promenade. That stretch, what we used to call Electric Avenue, that should be closed off as a road and you could rerun the road behind it. But that should be, parking facilities should be created. It extends the savannah. It actually extends the savannah across the road. Whitehall shouldn't be the Prime Minister's office anymore. These places are historical sites. They've been built to mirror other historical sites. And you could find private sector uses for them also. That people could go to them and spend money and they could be self-sustaining, and it gives people something to do. But that strip that we would create a promenade there, we would also be able to rent facilities for food sellers and stuff, and where people could come and spend time with family. We don't have enough family attractions in Trinidad. What would jobs look like? University graduates with a degree can't find a job because they also need 5 years work experience and 5 additional certificates. John, that's not why university students can't find jobs. We do not have a long-term tertiary education plan that dovetails with the developmental plans of the country. And we have people going to school on the government's dime, getting degrees that the country doesn't need. And the reality is, a planned country, you know what you're trying to be. I keep asking all the time, what is Trinidad and Tobago? What are we? Nobody knows. Nobody knows what type of society we are, so that they could get themselves in line with that, where jobs and careers are concerned. We need to create an environment where the long-term development of the country, those jobs, the government sponsors people who go to get degrees and further education in those fields, because we will need those people, and the state should sponsor them in exchange for 3 to 5 years service. You're getting your salary, but 3 to 5 years contracted service, so we get first dibs, and then you get your experience that way. The other people who want to study other things that are not actually in demand in the country, but you want to study it anyway, the state could finance you, but you're going to have to pay it back. You have to pay it back when you go to work. What will the construction industry look like under the PEP? Massive. The Progressive Empowerment Party would relocate the capital city of Port of Spain to the center of the island. We've said so. We plan to move the port of Port of Spain to a larger facility, 10 times the size, in Point Lisa, so that it allows for the unstuffing of containers. No more will containers hiding drugs and guns and other contraband be able to pass through the port without being checked. We plan to offer a facility to unstuff it on the port, and it'll be a little bit inconvenient to importers, yes, but we need to stop being a narco state. We need to fix the country, and the drug trade has corrupted a large part of the country, and we need to get past that. Yeah. How are you going to clean up the public service when you get in office? That's a big one. Privatization. Basically, we're going to privatize what we can, what we do not need, and in the sectors that are essential services. We plan to make corruption a frightening thought to consider. The reason that none of the laws are enforced is because a lot of the people who are committing a lot of those crimes are connected in a grand web conspiracy of criminal wrongdoers occupying high offices in the country, and we need to fix that. And the fastest way to fix that is to make white-collar crime and corruption a punishable offense. Yeah? We almost at this 2 hours now. I hope you're all watching. And yeah. Good morning, Phillip. After watching the live last night, I have to disagree with Mama Coco a bit. The perception I got was that she wanted you to be more presentable to the people. In other words, be the man TNT wants to see. I don't agree. You are the man TNT needs, and it doesn't matter whether I like you or not. You are the reason I still have hope in this country. Thank you very much for that. When will the PEP mobilization team be in Marabella or Gasparilla? Everywhere. We're heading everywhere at the same time. What is the party plans for our aging population and will the new PEP government? Let me tell you something. Our aging population is such an important resource. And I never understood how people at the prime of their lives with a wealth of knowledge and experience would be put out of pasture. The Progressive Empowerment Party plans to open all schools. You see, when schools close at the end of the day for the students, we plan to make all those classrooms and all those facilities available for peppercorn rents to people who want to do homework supervision and do lecturing and offer courses in everything from marketing and communication and public relations and first aid and ballet and karate and anything. We call that thing where you weave the threads together, all of that. Anything at all that you could want a facility, we plan to open all of the schools. We have massive amounts of schools that at 3 o'clock on an afternoon, they shut tight, and people who want to do something extracurricular, food courses, people who want to teach people how to be chefs, how to cook. And if you get it at peppercorn rent, you offer it as peppercorn rent. Right now in Trinidad and Tobago, at the end of the day, all you could do is go buy a bar and drink. There is nothing for you to better yourself. And this is an idea that we plan to use and put our elders to work. When I say put them to work, give them the opportunity, those who want to teach and share the benefit of their knowledge. Yeah? So it's 9:55 peeps, not crochet. Oh gosh, just have a long, there's hand plants from it. Anyway, Bella is calling, it's getting late. We've been at this 2 hours now, so we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it up now. So to all of you who have been with me for these 2 hours, thank you very, very much tonight. Please, all the questions and everybody that's showing interest, go on the website, peptt.com, register, click that donate button, click it because we need your help. We need your help. We invest in a lot of time. Look how much time I invest every single day. Every single day. We're doing 2 videos a day now. Now this video is 2 hours. Help us. We need your help. We need your help. Let's not miss it. Let's not miss the chance, the opportunity to make a better country. Let's not miss it. Oh God, I'm still trying to remember the name of this thing. And now it's on the tip of my tongue. And I used to do it when I was a little child. And I really want to know if somebody remember. You better real calling. I will remember macrame, Pat Landry Smith. That's exact. That's it. Is that the name? Yes, macrame. That's what. God, thank you all. And at least told you now reach with it. Again, it now on WhatsApp too, macrame. Thank you all very, very much. Listen. We fighting because our country is at war. We're fighting because our people are put upon. Go to bed tonight asking yourself this. If we were the 3rd wealthiest country in the Western world, if after America and Canada, we were richer than Brazil and Argentina and Venezuela and Chile and Paraguay and Uruguay and Suriname and Barbados and Jamaica and Cuba and everybody. Nicaragua. If we were the third wealthiest in the Western world, how come our money is so valueless? Barbados is not the 10th wealthiest in the Western Hemisphere, and their dollar is 2 to 1 with the American dollar. How did ours become 677 to 1 and have 113, sometimes 115 the value? This doesn't make sense. Something is wrong. We have a 13% spread in the buying and selling of foreign exchange. That's insane. That is an extra tax on everything in the country. Think about that. Just that tonight. Think about that. Think about 58 years of governments who were comfortable building a water management system that washes the fresh water into the sea. So we have 6 months of flood, 6 months of drought. Think about that. You're falling asleep tonight? Think about that. Think about how it's possible that the same Ministry of Education, the same EFCL, the same curriculum, the same books, the same teacher training college train the teachers. How could some schools be prestige schools and a small handful of that and the rest fail? Think about that. Think about it. See if you could understand it, because we had a vote on this. We had a vote on the fact that we own the largest pitch lake in the world, but our roads is crap. And we had a vote on that Calco and Sami and Kusals and all of them who paving roads don't know what the ass they're doing because the roads don't last. We have roads in Trinidad that the Yankees put down in Wallafield and on the North Coast and in Chagaramas that they built since the 40s that taking heavy truck traffic and still they're surviving. 1940. That's 80 years ago. Sammy and them can't build a road lasting 3 years. Or is it that we build roads to fail so they have our next contract to come? Think it through now. Just think about these things. Think about how $3 trillion have been stolen. The PNM tells you all the money that the UNC steal. The UNC tells you all the money that the PNM steal. But neither of them could put anything in place to bring anybody to justice. Think about that. See if it's honor among thieves or worse. A grand conspiracy. Think about it. Think about these things. We spend billions of dollars importing food, 41,000 farmers looking for farmland to grow food, and we have thousands of acres of carony land growing razor grass that financiers of the PNM and the UNC thief in piece at a time. Think about that. Think about these things. Think about $5 billion spent on our healthcare system to give us this crap that we have. Think about it. Think about the fact that we spend $9 billion a year on national security for a Coast Guard that can't guard the coast, when for 10% of that money, we could establish the maritime security wall and permanently close Trinidad's borders and stop the drug trade, the gun trade, the human trafficking trade. Think about why we haven't done it. And you'll start to question, what is Rowley's motive that he wouldn't stop the drug trade? What was Pandey's? What is Kamla's? Kamla, you was there for 5 years and 6 months. Why you wouldn't stop the drug and gun trade? Why? Think about these things and then tell me, your justice system not working. We have a police service that governments used to come to office. The current head of the Police Complaints Authority called the police service the largest gang in Trinidad and Tobago. We had governments come to office and bad talk the police service and leave without fixing it. Think these things. Think about these things. And think about it before you vote, because I'm telling you, we, when you tell me PNM failed because 1% own the PNM and you voting for PNM, you vote for that. We fail when we vote. We have no choice. You have choice now. You have choice now. You ain't know none of the people Kamla putting up. You ain't know none of the people Rowley putting up. You just know 3 letters, PNM and UNC. PEP's 3 letters too. And we putting up good people too. And not one of them would do for you what I do every single night. Inform, educate, and empower. Talk about everything. Make yourself available to answer fake profiles coming and asking you bullshit. But we here talking to get the people to a place where when they vote, they could vote with intelligence. Informed decision, they call it. You want a better country, friend? You want a better country? Can't get worse than this. You want a better country? A country that understands Tobago is the #1 tourist destination in the world, and we should be docking, well, coronavirus come and kill this, but we should have been docking 4 cruise ships a month. You trying to tell me the only island outside the hurricane belt to have 50,000 marine craft berthed here, earning us billions of dollars? You trying to tell me that stupid little avocado that Mexico's selling to America for 1.5 billion US a year, we can't sell Pollock avocado? An avocado tree, you gotta talk to it, you gotta weed it, you gotta water it. Just pick avocado, mango. Jamaica's selling hundreds of millions of dollars of mango. You trying to tell me they have a market for Julie? Come on, man. Breadfruit, soursop, guava. Them trees, when they grow for life. You trying to tell me that our people nowhere thought of this? The PNM wouldn't grow it because in the 5 years it takes for them to be in office, somebody else will harvest it. So what the hell you there for? You're not there for 5 years, brother. You're there as the servants of the people to plan for the future. The Chinese say the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Listen. We're gonna do this. We're gonna turn we blood to water. We're gonna be here every day, every night. We're gonna touch on every topic. We're going to exhaust it until you get to decide, until you have to say, I know my party is shit. I know the PNM or the UNC is shit. When you could say, I know that. I know they're coming into office to divide us ethnically and to rob this country. And I still win and vote for them. Then, don't march and don't complain. What you plant, when it bear, eat that. Until tomorrow, have a good night. Stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.